Hey guys, this is the Gen 6 454 for the Silverton in Marco Island. I just got both heads installed, and I tried to set up the camera so that I could film this process, but quite frankly there's not enough room in here, and it was a nightmare just because of the limited space you have to move around to move and hold them properly. But I'll kind of discuss it a little bit here and go through what I've done. And also I want to show they're not finished. They're just temporarily installed. I think I got about 6 or 8 bolts in each one, but here are all the head bolts that cleaned up very nicely. And I mean, every one of them look that way. None of the ones that were on the outer bank were rusty or funky or anything. So they're very good heads. And I'll discuss this sealant here in a little while. But now the client actually saw these heads, and if he had not have seen these heads, I would have definitely taken some video shots of the condition of them. They're just absolutely precision builds. Frank at Cylinder Head Exchange did these for us and did a phenomenal job, and actually found that one of the original heads was repaired in a funky way that honestly I would have overlooked. I would have missed it, and it failed the pressure test. So we had some heads from this engine, and fortunately one of those heads was good, and he was able to build that head for us, and he knocked this out in just a matter of probably about 6 or 7 days. So if you see this, Frank, I really appreciate you knocking that out of the park. And they are phenomenal. The work is just super clean. I won't get too long-winded here because I don't want this to turn into a video like the first one that I did yesterday. But I do want to briefly discuss my process. And when I'm installing a head like this in the shop, I typically just put some of the actual head bolts like this, sorry for the camera work, in the end of the heads, because they all fit, and you can just manipulate them right onto the engine stand. In a boat, it's a different story because your footing is critical. You literally only have, you know, I don't know, about 20 inches width between the engines to stand, and then I can put a foot right over here as well, and I'm hovering above the engine, and then I hold it with my left hand in the number 8 bank, and my right hand I get it like a double catch right here, you know, in these two intakes right here, and then that way I'm able to, you know, just ease it right into position. This is simple. That one is an absolute effing nightmare because you have to get over there. You have to set the head on top of the engine first, and then you have to get up under there, and then you have to be able to reach over and lift up and in front of your head. It's bizarre. Literally, it takes every muscle you got in your body just to lift it up and control it. But again, you got one shot at this because you don't want to damage anything. And the cool thing is, I forgot, I didn't get to discuss the dowels as we discussed, or as I discussed last night. Here are the dowels that I was talking about. Bought a whole damn box, and what pissed me off, I was hoping they would be like $30 or $40 for the box, and justify my mistake yesterday, it was like $2 for 10. So keep your tools and keep your parts bought up, or it'll cost you a hell of a lot of money. Again, these, I just got the bolts run through the middle here, holding this in place and kind of stable. And my process is this: I use the Aviation Form-A-Gasket sealant liquid. This is the same compound that Lycoming Engine uses to seal the twin casings in their aircraft engines. And this stuff has been around. You can see it on the threads there. This stuff has been around, I don't know, probably since the 40s. It's kind of like an Indian head, but it's a hell of a lot thicker, and it dries. It almost dries. It's awesome, but it's still very pliable. And I like it. The older it gets, the more sticky and gooey it gets, and the better it forms. That's been on there for literally probably 3 or 4 minutes, and it has not run or dripped or sagged or anything. and where I'm going with this. I'm actually just going to show the process by which I do it. So you can see I've got a few up here. So I got this on with the little brush. I'm sorry. Napa, get this stuff at Napa, $6 or $7. It's worth it. It's awesome. So basically, it just sorry about the camera work. Let me back up a little bit. You try to keep, you don't want to get it too, you don't want too much on the threads because you don't want any of that gook up here, and you're about to see why. What I'll do now is just run this down to where the bottom, oh shit, sorry, I wasn't even keeping it in the camera, where the bottom of the head is about 1/8 inch up. Okay, now some guys use engine oil or whatnot. I use the zinc. I'm gonna see if I can look below the camera but still keep it in the camera. I just let a small drop or two drip right there, and the reason I'm within 1/8 of an inch, I don't want it running down the shank of the bolt. I want it sitting there at that little top hat. So I do, you know, I make a turn and a half, and boom, she's seated, and every bit of that sealant, I mean every bit of that engine lube has, it kind of works its way around, and that's where you get a phenomenal torque. You don't want raw metal to raw metal when you're trying to do your torquing. You want a well lubed surface, but you don't want so much damn oil in there that the stuff is running down the guides and possibly getting into your head gaskets. I mean, you got about you got, I think 16, yeah, you got 16 head bolts to do. It's one thing to be able to do this in the shop, but here in the boat, and like right now the client's going to be here in 10 minutes, and I'm going to have to explain to him, I can't stop. You know, I can't stop and talk right now. I got to keep rocking and rolling because I got 32 bolts here that I got to get these babies seated, because I can't afford to have oil run down these shafts and risk making contact with the head gasket and screwing that up. So that's kind of, I want to make this video about, you know, preparation, you know, as we all know, is key, and then having the right tools to put everything together and everything laid out real neat. In other words, when you're ready to do something like this, get all the other shit out of the way. You know, clean house. Put everything, you know, that you know you're not going to need out away, so you're not digging through. Set up your workstation with only what you need. That way you're able to maintain some sort of course of control, I guess is the word I'm looking for, and keep it rocking and rolling. And even like right now, I'm not too worried about this because I've got these wrist, I'm not even going to say wrist tight. I went down with them. They kissed. The heads are sitting on the gaskets. And what I usually do, I go ahead and start with number 1, and then I go to like number 13, I believe that one is, and then number 16. And then I just do those 3. Again, wrist tight. That kind of gives it a easy leveling, and it also gives you an idea. You can get up under here. I don't know if that's going to pick up, but you can get a visual of, is everything lining up properly. It's always a telltale sign. Just look at these points here. The gasket, the head gasket, should be riding directly at the edge of the tower there, the wall or whatever it's called, and then the head. So you can see. I'm sorry, I have my finger in the way. So you see that right there, and that once you see those 4 points line up, you know everything else is fine. Nonetheless, there's nothing wrong with coming down here, check, you know, just running your hand between the block and the head. Maybe try to catch it with your fingernail. Maybe take a putty knife if you want, and just kind of kiss it. If you can't see it, because I'm literally so cramped right now, I can't hardly bend over. But I say all that to say this: they're perfectly true, and it's ready to be torqued down. And I'll probably shoot a video of the intake and the cleanliness of it, as well as the install process, and again try to shoot a few more videos related to this build. But I ended up being a little bit more detailed than I guess I wanted, but I guess I covered some pretty good bases there. Again, I know some of you guys that are watching this are thinking, we've heard it, you know, you said it 1,000 times, but you guys have to realize that this channel is primarily meant for my means of communicating with a client, and a lot of clients don't know this stuff. They've never seen this stuff. So I'm not a vocational instructor. I'm using this platform as a tool by which I can communicate with my clients, and then after a 14-hour day I can just turn the damn phone off and drive home. And that way I can just say, just go to the videos. Not being a smart ass, but just saying, just go to the videos and you'll see everything that we covered today, or everything that was covered and how it was covered, and any discoveries I might have made and stuff like that. So again, that's what this platform is being used for. So I appreciate you guys watching, and I'm gonna shut the video down right there.